You don't want this guy popping up in your next selfie. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit. Princess Lena 87 explains that there was no one else in the room when this video was recorded, except apparently this insane red face who popped up behind them. The clip shows two friends recording a selfie video, laughing and having fun. As the video pans right, nothing is behind them, but when it pans left again, a slimy red figure appears over their shoulders. Lena shares the screenshot in the comments. While some think it's Snape, others suggest something not from a Harry Potter book, and rather an entity that is quite nefarious. Redditor Analytical Amy writes, "It may just be some freakish weirdness, but was there ever a fire close by or in that house over the years?" Later saying that it looks like someone who was in the home during something like this. Whether you think this is the case or not, one piece of advice: don't turn around. I believe this video is 100% real, and that only makes it all the more scarier. This old house is allegedly haunted by the angry spirit of a previous inhabitant. Watch what happens in the dark basement shortly after a ghost hunter named Lylil Show sets up a camera and leaves. As soon as the lights turn off and the door shuts, an abnormal amount of orbs dance all around the camera, which then tips over. I think this is more than a coincidence because it happens within 5 seconds of his exit. Something down there obviously doesn't want to be filmed. The angry spirit resists all attempts to communicate. Here it swats an electrometer used to detect paranormal disturbances in the air. Between this and the camera falling over, I think the spirit wants to be left alone, and I think it's probably best to respect its privacy before it gets any more insistent. This door manages to stay open for 5 full seconds before slowly swinging shut for some reason, and I want to know why. It's a lightweight door, so maybe his house isn't level, and that's why his door is shutting like that. Or maybe I just don't want to believe that his house is haunted after all. So is this an unlevel house or something paranormal? This video of a speedy silhouette looks like it has to be in fast forward, but as the timestamp shows, it somehow manages to cross the room in less than 1 second. I can only assume that this shadow person has been seen at least once before, hence the bedside camera. Notice how all of its features remain blacked out despite there being plenty of natural light. What's particularly worrisome is how it clears the room in an instant, and then comes back into the frame to linger by their bedpost some more. Apparently the two seem to share a mutual fascination. This home surveillance footage from 2009 shows the Jameson family acting strangely on their property in Eufaula, Oklahoma shortly before they disappeared. They can be seen making about 20 trips to and from their house without talking to each other at all. Some investigators even believe they were in a trance-like state. The Jamesons were not seen again for years, until hunters found their scattered remains in 2014. No one knows what happened to them because their remains were too decomposed for forensic testing. The cause of their demise has never and probably will never be determined, so all that remains of their last days is this videotape. This dashcam video was supposedly taken near Hanoi, Vietnam, and was posted on Facebook where it spread to the local news. In it, the car soon pulls up to a figure dressed in all white standing in the middle of the road. The drivers are quite concerned that this individual is standing in the middle of a pitch black road, alone besides one street light above. They don't ask the person anything. Instead, they quickly drive away. While many online thought it was a ghost of some kind, news agencies have said that this was a woman who is not mentally well and was possibly attempting to take her own life. Let's hope she got the help she needed before it was too late. Rankin Fishing is at it again at the Indian River Inlet in North Beach, this time hoping to hook himself some bluefish. Never was he expecting this. He gets a hit on the line and is a little nervous to find, in his words,
the freaking worst thing to catch.
The arrangement of dark brown and black spots on its back immediately tells him this is a clear-nosed skate. Skates are similar to stingrays, except for a few differences I won't get too deep into. All that matters is they will defend themselves, however they can live another day. This one looks to be full grown, so he has to be extra careful. It's not the tail he needs to watch out for, but rather the mouth. The clear-nosed skate has between 46 and 54 teeth on the top row, and around the same number on the bottom. 108 teeth total, small and blunt, packed closely together for dense crushing power like a vice. Its jaws can crack open hard-shelled prey like clams and crabs with no problem. Your hand is no match. At 2 minutes and 56 seconds, the skate's bottom lip becomes lurched out and is perfectly aligned with the soft webbing between his index and thumb. The end result is something terrifying. There's a lot of red and yelling afterwards, and the only thing left to do after unhooking the creature is dip his hand into the salt water. Let's just say he's lucky the skate got this part of his hand as opposed to a finger, which would have come right off. He wonders out loud if something's going to happen to him later.
I'm sorry, that hurts so much. I hope they don't have any like toxin.
I did some research and found that skates, unlike stingrays, do not have any toxins, so he doesn't have that to worry about, but he should still probably go to the hospital because it might have some nasty bacteria around its mouth that he wants nothing to do with. He later describes this encounter as the worst physical sensation any deep-sea creature has ever inflicted on him in all his years. He has my sympathies, and I hope, for the sake of his hand, that nothing else from the ocean is ever able to do worse. Alex Miner pops off the top of his dark web mystery box and receives a handwritten warning. To paraphrase, it says that life is a dirty mystery and you never know what you are touching. As for the weird drawing beneath it, your guess is as good as mine. Alex finds an old compact disc and quietly sets it aside. Then he finds this weird leaky bag full of white powder. If you have any idea what this is, let me know. The next object almost certainly confirms my suspicions. Covered in the mysterious white powder is this weird tool marked biohazard.
Biohazard. Can anybody tell me what this is?
Later, when Alex plays the CD, this is what he hears. Listen to this and tell me if you can hear a voice say something like, "I see you." And leave me a best guess as to what this all means. A YouTuber named Chastity Pineda TV has a haunted basement. As this paranormal video shows, her camera detects motion at 2:52 a.m., but she can't see anything, only the sound of ghost footsteps. And 8 minutes later is when this 3 a.m. paranormal experience is archived for her to look at later. She puts the camera in a different spot, and on another night, 11:45 to be precise, she catches the swing in motion with all of the lights on, and at 2:20 the next afternoon, the swing is moving on its own and something new happens. Listen again. Did you hear the creepy kid's voice when the stick falls? That's an old walking stick they're interacting with, by the way. Perhaps this object is what's causing these events. Did you know that man has explored more of Mars and the moon than we've explored the depths of our own oceans, which leads us to some of the strangest oddities on Earth, including this one, the giant's pyrosome, looking like a large transparent tube slide. A giant's pyrosome is comprised of thousands of identical clones of zooids that form an up to 60-foot hollow cylinder that can be wide enough for a grown man to fit inside. The free-floating tube appears like a ghostly discarded piece of see-through fabric known as sea pickles. Giant pyrosomes are bioluminescent, which means you can see them glowing blue-green in the sea at night. Published to YouTube by Ross Overstreet in June of 2018 and supplemented by footage from Luis Bringas in December of 2014. This giant pyrosome off the southern coast of San Clemente Island will send you off the deep end. These videos show the creature in action, or rather inaction, as it floats unobtrusively near the seafloor. What would you do if you crossed paths with this oceanic nightmare? Would you be brave enough to swim through? And more importantly, would you make it to the other side? Heavenly Harmony Sound Haunting. This one may actually be published to YouTube in June of 2020. This clip comes from a video that'll give you nightmares, according to the Portuguese title. The clip is gaining traction in the Spanish and Portuguese speaking YouTube communities, and after watching, you'll know exactly why it's become so popular. The footage shows a children's choir practicing, led by their enthusiastic conductor. They're likely preparing to perform for their parents in a Christmas program, judging by their Santa hats. At first, all seems normal, nothing out of place, that is until the shot zooms in on this child, who appears to be experiencing something out of the norm. The girl with long black hair leans her head back as if her actions are out of her control. She appears possessed, and her face, blurred to begin with, even disappears at some point, like it's erased from the video altogether. The young girl dips her head back several times in this manner, which is plenty of cause for concern, but it's her seeming to vanish from the footage only to re-emerge that's especially creepy. Is this girl possessed? Can the vanishing act be somehow explained? What is happening here? One thing's for sure, it's freaky. CCTV footage often captures the unexplainable. Posted to YouTube by UFO Mania in May of 2018 and originally from FUMON, a Ring security camera caught a strange flying entity on camera. The unknown entity shoots onto the screen, sparking in the air before settling in a glowing fuzz at the bottom of the frame. It hovers there, floating, before jolting upwards and out of sight. YouTuber Trish Robinson writes, "One world has many creations in it. We simply don't understand them. Most will never be known by the masses. Is this just one of those many creations we don't understand?" Nevertheless, this footage raises multiple questions I wish we had additional evidence to answer. This video, supposedly leaked by a former NASA employee while orbiting the Earth from space, apparently shows the fabled Black Knight satellite in action. According to theorists, the Black Knight satellite is actually thousands of years old and made by extraterrestrials, not humans. Many people believe that NASA is going to great lengths to cover up the existence of this foreign object, as well as whoever created it. The video itself looks pretty old, possibly from the 60s or 70s. The quality is grainy due to either aging or CGI effects. Based on what you've seen here, tell me if you think this is a real cover-up or just video editing. A YouTuber named Backpacker Tampan and his friend Tom go ghost hunting in Indonesia. They want to explore an old hotel, but to get there they have to go through some scary woods and cross a narrow bridge over rushing waters, a bridge with some sketchy areas missing. A few planks too many if you ask me. When they get inside the hotel, they find themselves in awe of the sheer size of the place and somehow get split up. This room in particular absolutely refuses to stay in focus, and it feels to him like someone could be near. And someone in the comments says that a shadow person is hanging around the doorway outside of the room 4 seconds later. It's nothing more than his reflection if you ask me. Weird, but not paranormal. But then he records movement across the doorway at the exact moment he thinks Tom is near.
Maybe he's downstairs. Oh, very dark, I can see. Tom?
Whatever this is we're looking at, it isn't Tom. It seems to follow him from floor to floor wherever he goes. Eventually, Tom is found, and together at that moment, they sense a third presence standing next to them.
Okay, we might gonna record here, I think. Can you do it with your phone? Recorder.
I think it sounds like editing because you can hear a bass line if you listen closely, like it's part of a song.
Can you do it with your phone?
Tell me if you think this really happens, or do you think it was added later?
Can you do it with your phone?
Strange behavior from a stranger at night is enough to make your spine tingle. This video, published by Mostava El Press in April of 2010, begins with some intense music and a vehicle stopped on the side of a highway at night. At first, you may not spot what the people in the vehicle are looking at, but once they zoom in, you can see a figure moving on the railing at the side of the road. The figure is unclear and indistinct at first. It's hard to tell if it's a human being or something else, but what's clear is it's scary enough in reality for the men in the vehicle to back away. Later, someone gets out of the vehicle to film the creature. As it turns out, the figure does appear to be a human being dressed in white with long legs, walking across the railing in slow, deliberate movements. When it comes nearer, the man cries out in Arabic and runs away as fast as he can. While exploring an old abandoned college, YouTuber Exploring with Megalodon jumps out of his skin from this paranormal encounter. Let's watch.
No date on it. What's that one say? Shit's up. So it was that 1983.
It seems to me like the ghost may not appreciate Megalodon looking through this album in particular.
So it was that 1983.
Would you stick around to pry around some more? I certainly wouldn't. The Sonora Inn was built in 1896 and is infamously haunted by many a spirit. Thomas writes that he worked night shift there in 2018. As he was setting up for breakfast at 5 a.m., this is what was captured on security camera. Watch the bowl he places on the counter in the top right corner. Let's see it again. Do you believe in this dining room poltergeist? I feel it might be a case of the wet surface of the bowl acting as a lubricant. After all, he did say it was a bowl of ice, but that's just my theory. What do you think? When inanimate objects start taking life around your home, maybe your house is cursed a la Beauty and the Beast, or maybe it's haunted by a poltergeist. Posted to YouTube by Horrifying Nightmares in January of 2013, the YouTuber explains. Last week we captured footage of a bowl scooting across the table. Some said it was a string, but this time the bowl flew into the air, cups scooted across the table, and the entire table shook. Noting that the video speaks for itself, let's see if it does. The video shows a little boy playing at a table. In front of him is a red bowl with something inside. The boy plays for a time without incident, but the minute he walks away from the table, the bowl slides on its own to the left. In a later clip, the same red bowl flies from the table. Another blue bowl and green cup slide across it. Then the table jumps up, shaken by the paranormal. Would you be interested in eating at this poltergeist table? I think I'm gonna pass. Keep your eyes peeled for this one. YouTuber Cryptid Encounter shares this scary video of an unknown creature in the darkness. Did you see it? Watch for the closet. What is that thing? The creature's eyes are glowing. Human eyes don't do that. Is this some sort of nocturnal cryptid species? I think it might be. Its skin looks reddish, although that may just be the light. It otherwise looks human, but somehow not human. Jeremy Pulverenti says he's caught a real ghost encounter on video. Security footage of the mysterious event only leaves him all the more stunned in response.
Look at, do you see that there's nothing by the wheels or anything? You can see it on an angle.
And that hose is way over there.
You see it on the angle?
Yep.
Dude, what the f?
He and his friend suggest the container is leaning over like somebody is holding it. At 35 seconds, there's a ghostly footprint moments before the object falls over on its own, and they react as expected. Common sense would suggest that the container tipped over because it was overfilled except for one thing. They've been filling this container with water for years, and everyone knows exactly how much it holds. This is strange to say the least, and with almost 75,000 views, almost no dislikes, and all his friends backing him up, it's definitely worth looking at. I think it could be one of the wheels on the bottom coming loose, or a small hole opening up on the side we can't see. But with that said, a haunted garage is not completely out of the question. A live streamer named Lothar is in the middle of playing Hearthstone when he suddenly starts acting out of sorts. If you pay close attention to his face, you can see that he is clearly feeling some discomfort. He takes his headset off and tries to regain control over himself, but to no avail. And his wife finds him there. She tries to get him to come to his senses. Here's a brief excerpt of the call. I don't speak the language, but common sense gives me some idea of what she is saying. Still, any translations are appreciated.
Nie, ale tak wyglądało. Myślałam, że się czymś... Słucham? Tak, ale myślałam, że się czymś zadławił.
In case anyone is wondering, Lothar spent about a week recovering, but this has not happened since. The San Antonio Cemetery in Texas could be one of the scariest places in the world to go exploring if this video is real. A ghost hunter from the Paranormal Journal stands in total darkness when some creepy things are caught on camera, and despite the lack of light, what he experiences is downright terrifying. His paranormal equipment detects movement, and then a single word crackles across the spirit box in an odd staticky voice. He never shows us exactly where he positioned the motion detection equipment, so it could be detecting his movement or a gust of wind for all we know. But here's something weird. If you look closely, there is a strange phantom light at 29 seconds, the same moment that the motion detection alarm goes off, that soon fades away. I would say there's another investigator, but I think that he might have been exploring the haunted cemetery all alone that night. If so, I have no idea what this light is, and even if it was a member of his team, that still doesn't explain the odd voice moments later that says hello. This port city in western Saudi Arabia looks like the aftermath of a building collapse, or else some kind of terrible eruption, but it's none of that. It's actually just starting, and the worst is yet to come. The massive plume of smoke spreads evenly across the horizon, and at 1 minute and 15 seconds you briefly get a glimpse of where it finally ends. There's no outrunning this event, and finding shelter is almost pointless. The cloud is growing taller by the minute as it heads towards them. The air is becoming gritty and it's getting harder to breathe. Vehicles desperately try to get away at the last second, but it's too late for any of them to get far, nor the cameraman for that matter, who seems resigned to his fate and makes no such attempt. This is a massive sandstorm, and if you haven't found shelter by now, you're in big trouble. The winds pick up and everything around him starts creaking unsteadily.
Yan, nandito na. Nandito na ang sandstorm. Parating na. Sige.
Someone tell me what his last words are, and if you think he made it through this event.
Yan, oh. Hindi ka makakita.
Those are the last recorded moments before I assume the sand broke his camera. We may not get to see what happens next, but I doubt it was anything good. Either way, there's something about the possibility of this whole town getting buried alive that makes this video creepy beyond words. This is one of the more popular videos that many people feel is clear evidence of Bigfoot. The video looks a little too blurry for me to be sure, but I don't recognize this scene from any movie or television series, so it could very well be real. If it is real, however, my only question is why this 5-second clip is so short. Maybe this person became afraid for their life when spotted and abruptly ran for cover. YouTuber Chuck's Paranormal Adventures posted this video in 2016 of the family dog Emily. In the description of the video, Chuck notes that Emily often stays in the kitchen waiting for scraps of food without a worry in the world. But some days, she avoids some areas of the kitchen or won't even come in. Then, in Chuck's own words, on September 12th, as I sat down to have a snack in the kitchen, the dog was having one of those skittish moments, and I had my phone nearby so I could record it. Since I am a paranormal investigator, from time to time, we've had visitors in the house, not by invite I assure you, I believe looking for help in crossing over. But that is another story for another day. Chuck tosses the dog some food to eat, but Emily won't come near enough to the food to eat it. The chips remain on the floor, but Emily, looking around a chair, refuses to get them. However, when Chuck puts some chips in the dog's bowl, Emily eats them all up in a second. So it's clear that the dog loves chips. What's not so clear is why she's too afraid to go and get the ones set out for her on the floor as a special treat. Once she's finished the chips in the bowl, she starts walking towards those on the floor. She comes very near them, but then, as if frightened by something, backs away. She goes back to her dog bowl to see if there are any more, and then looks back at the floor chips, and then she backs away further. She even goes around to another door to the dining room and attempts to approach on the other side of the chips, but she can't convince herself to go anywhere near them. She sits in the hallway and re-enters through the other side. Then, as the owner approaches the very spot the dog won't approach, the phone's camera shuts off. Coincidence? Chuck wonders. Maybe not. The following day, Chuck records Emily visiting the same spot she'd avoided the day previously. She is no longer afraid to eat the chips there.
Same spot as yesterday. Okay, paused it a second to get some chips. And now there's the spot that was yesterday. I'm going to put the chips down and see there's the dog in the spot where she refused to go to yesterday having the little chips.
So what's going on? Chuck wonders if the spirit of an old pet was guarding the chips, as Emily used to approach their old beagle in this same cautious manner. They also sometimes hear a dog collar clank in the middle of the night, which couldn't be Emily since they remove it before bedtime. Whatever the case, here's hoping the spirit isn't something much more sinister. Have you ever heard something in nature that doesn't sound natural at all? This video was cross-posted by Cursed Curses to the Chills Narrator subreddit, who thought these sounds were weird enough to share. Originally posted to What Is This by Sir M Sport, the Redditor explains that the strange sound seems to be originating from the woods and the sky surrounding his house in rural Georgia. He said although his phone ran out of battery, he heard the sounds long after the recording ends. The user asks the Reddit community for help in identifying the source of these sounds after asking a few of his neighbors, who said they hadn't heard such noises before. One of these neighbors, who lives on a hill, said the sounds definitely seem to be coming directly from the sky. Listen closely. The noises sound like irregular high-speed traffic for a moment. But then another tone enters in, like a spaceship door opening. The murmur continues, oscillating slightly. There are many theories in the comments, with Wolfish Fluff coming up with one of the most likely theories, suggesting that it sounds like a power plant or a generator farm. He notes the revving up sound could be the activation. He writes, "My guess is that there's one of these facilities somewhere in your area, and the sound is coming from the sky because you're far enough away that basically the sound is bouncing off the atmosphere and then traveling to you. This would cause the muffling and the distortion." Other less likely theories include alligators, unknown flying objects, or a big tunnel. Any other suggestions? What do you think these sounds may be? This YouTuber shakily records their apartment while inspecting every last corner. It's obvious that they no longer feel safe here and want to record for proof. Nothing is out of the ordinary until they silently cross into the bedroom, and that's when the horror is revealed. A girl with long black hair over her face sits crumpled on the floor. Look again and you'll see that even her arms and feet have no detail at all, like a silhouette. When he checks again to make sure he is not seeing things, he's surprised to find she is all gone. A YouTube channel called 3/Amir AMR searches for what his video title roughly translates into English as "The Most Dangerous Magician." Though its glowing eyes make it look less human and more like a jinn, the Arabic word for demons and spirits. The way the eyes come into focus at 1 minute and 4 seconds looks pretty good, but I think it might be special effects because the overall resolution seems to briefly drop. White and red eyes look at him from outside of a window, and there's a really good look at them here at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But these eyes look like they could be any of the city lights shown here when he goes outside. He does see the djinn standing outside of a window, eyes glowing white as ever. It disappears. Then he sees either the same creature or possibly another one in the building directly behind him. Now feeling surrounded, he turns and flees this entire area, but not before catching glowing eyes looking at him from the window within. YouTubers The Proper People published this exploration of an abandoned psychiatric hospital in April of this year, 2018. The psych hospital was built in the 1800s for poor folks who couldn't afford healthcare and has been abandoned for more than 2 decades. The place certainly looks old. Whole pieces of wallpaper are chipping from the walls. Below the hospital are tunnels connecting to the surrounding buildings. The crew didn't enter the tunnels because unlike the psychiatric hospital, those buildings are still in use, but they did come upon a fallout shelter. Many of the rooms they come across are empty, some are locked, making the crew and their viewers curious about what's inside. But perhaps the most curious rooms are those with piles of the psych's hospital supplies and equipment. Chairs, tables, walkers, buckets, mattresses all thrown together in one place. They even encounter an old green tub with an adjacent seat used to lift disabled patients in for bathing. And further on, they arrive at half of an elevator car. For some reason, there's something so unsettling about an open elevator shaft and an elevator not where it's supposed to be, Michael says. It gives you a bad feeling. Well, Michael, this whole place gives us a bad feeling, so I'm going to stay as far away from that hospital as possible. The next time you look into your baby monitor, you might find an unnerving guardian angel. That's what happened to a friend of XXBlazinXX who posted this clip to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes in the comments, "A friend of mine had recently put her child to bed, and she has gone through every single thought of how to justify this figure, but it looks like a little child walking in and around the crib. By the time log on the baby monitor, you can see it's around 9:40 p.m., and if you look closely, you'll catch a ghost white shadow figure walk around the back of the crib as the baby sleeps on. The figure creeps around one side of the crib before pacing back to the head of the crib and coming slightly around the other side. Then it moves back. At the end of the clip, it appears most visible, leaving its sential spot, probably in order to make itself a sandwich. What was this phantom caretaker doing? Do you think it's a friendly guardian, or does the babysitter have evil intent? Whatever the case, safeguard that baby. It's better to be safe than sorry."
Oh my god.
Richard Griebnick recorded this creature from inside his home over the summer of 2017. He is on the phone calling a friend named Mike for help while a large, hunched-over white humanoid prowls around his backyard. The gargoyle, as Richard describes it, seems to sniff the air from time to time, almost as if it can detect someone's presence nearby. It certainly has the build of a predator, but for some reason it seems hesitant to move forward. If you were wondering why Richard would call his friend instead of the police, I was thinking the same question, but soon it becomes clear that Mike knows how to handle this situation better than anyone. The humanoid creature convulses as Mike unleashes a string of words in an ancient-sounding language I have never heard before. If you recognize what is being said here and can translate, please let me know. After Mike is finished speaking, the creature sulks off into the forest where it came from. The event looks very convincing, but I wish that Richard could have zoomed in a little more so we could have gotten a closer look. If this is real though, then he was probably way too scared to worry about camera work, so I definitely understand and still fully appreciate what he was able to record. Russian YouTuber Eugene from Dark Mystic captured something in his home. Let's take a look. First, it shows up in the darkened window behind him.
У них начались какие-то шорохи, шумы, падения. И самое главное, что мне больше всего понравилось в этом письме, то, что они говорят, мы стояли ошарашенные и поднимается не с того, что предмет. Я не помню, какой он там в описании предмет. Вопрос, говорит, поднимается воздух.
Did you see the figure moving in the window? Then, while inside, he hears something.
Опа! Это что такое?
Nobody answers. Later, as he's capturing video under a crawl space, another disturbance is heard.
Ой! Откуда взялась-то?
Then, in the shed, he sees two glowing eyes.
Так, попробуем запечатлеть. Ой. Ребята, какие глаза. Я так и не вижу. Посмотрите, глаза какие-то. Пошел-ка я за фонариком, сейчас посмотрим.
The eyes disappear. Do they belong to whatever phantom is causing such mayhem in his home? Or was all that racket caused by a cat or other animal? But then again, what about the figure in the window? I think Eugene should look into this further to find out what exactly he's dealing with. A paranormal investigator named I Am Frankie Speed sets up motion tracking equipment in his house to capture a ghost on tape. After a while, he finds a strange figure creeping up his wall and hugging a mirror. He gets up and shows the mirror. Nothing here looks like a person, at least nothing that I can see, but I think shining the Kinect directly into a mirror might cause it to glitch out. What do you think? Is this a werewolf, a cryptid, or something else? Redditor Twist of Fate 666 shares this creepy video of a mysterious creature in the darkness. Watch closely and tell me what you think. I think I'd run for the hills if I saw this in my backyard, but Redditors have many different takes. It looks like a demon at this angle, but still others think it's something natural. Is this an elephant or a four-legged stilt Halloween costume, as some Redditors are suggesting? Or like the uploader thinks, could this be a werewolf? There are so many options that I feel I'm leaving this guessing game with more questions than answers. Dennis from Dark Ghost Paranormal is exploring this scary house with ghosts, and he's in for a real boo. While searching what looks like a storage area of the home, he falls to the ground. In fact, it looks like he breaks clean through the ground, and he does. The disturbance is captured from another room. A mysterious anomaly is seen in that same storage room. And that anomaly may be getting aggressive with him. But nothing is there, or so it seems. Just as he's decided to leave, he's confronted by the ghost again. One actually might think it's an earthquake, if not for the terrifying knowledge that this place is haunted. Later, he hears a whole lot of ruckus again and goes to investigate, when behind him, there's a growl. What sort of beast is in here with Dennis? I don't think that's a ghost. Sounds more like a demon to me. An employee walks by when the corner of her hand cart gets caught on the corner of this looming wall display. She shakes it loose with a sharp tug, sending an entire wall of spiky pegged hooks cascading down. It looks like she gets taken out pretty badly. Then at the very end, she's standing off to the side, stunned but still okay. I'm so glad she is okay, but the thought of how this could have went wrong makes me still wish I hadn't seen this video. Let There Be Light, posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Zombie Foxes, the Redditor explains, the security guard quit after seeing the CCTV of an orb walking through a car park and turning on lights in the storage room. The lights can only be turned on with a sensor when you walk 4 to 5 steps in the bike store, which also requires a fob to access it. The video shows the car park in question. For a while, there's nothing to see here, but then the tiny white speck or orb floats slowly across the scene from the bottom right of the screen to the door. Just as it arrives there, the light beyond flicks on. Coincidence? Or is there just something here that we cannot see? If it's true that the lights are only triggered when a person enters, then who or what's inside? No wonder the security guard didn't want to stick around. While investigating an old schoolhouse, this group's trail camera caught this unexplained happening. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Key Consequence 7618 explains what we're looking at here. We had come from the first classroom walking towards the second classroom. This is a light in the doorway on the left, just as the board jumps up. The board that he's talking about is a piece of plywood set in a doorway. It shudders long after they've entered the room, so it can't be a reverberation of the crew having walked on it. Further, as the Redditor said, a strange light appears in the window of the door, as if someone that was standing there left at that very moment. Although the Redditor says he and another member of his crew were the only two people in the house, it looks like they weren't alone. A young boy is watching television by himself and starts making a video for fun. After a while, he needs to do something in another room, so he puts the phone down for just a minute and accidentally records this creeper at his window. Someone peeks through the window multiple times over the course of a minute. I think those might be metal bars on the windows, so maybe this area has been dealing with break-ins, in which case there was about to be another. Then again, this strange floating orb appears as soon as the figure disappears, so maybe this is some kind of paranormal intruder instead. This video comes from a creepy YouTube channel ominously called I Know Where She Is, whatever that's supposed to mean. Anyway, whoever's filming seems to be at some old abandoned house that's covered in years worth of trash. A loud generator blocks out all sound. They turn around as if startled and shine their flashlight on the doorway, but they don't see anything. Neither did I the first time. Look again though, and you'll see the fleeing shadow of someone retreating from the doorway. Overall, it's hard to tell if this was a phantom figure or just the angle of the flashlight playing tricks across the wall. A lot of scary ghost sightings involve a doorway or a window. They always seem to be haunting a passageway leading into the house. At 31 seconds, a pale apparition leans in to peek through the doorway of this building. Then the mysterious figure is gone, disappeared. I couldn't find anything to explain what was moving in the door. The ghost hunter later explains, after doing some more research, he says this haunted place is home to voices of children laughing and playing, stories that further creep him out. This building was a funeral home before the haunted place was abandoned. The cameraman is too scared to get near the haunted place, let alone go exploring, but a possible long-distance ghost sighting leaves him freaked out. I agree, there is something in the doorway. Whether it's a ghost or not is hard to say from here, but something is there and that's pretty weird. This old VHS tape of a girl dancing is definitely paranormal, at least if you believe what the uploader Sharon Bailey has to say. First, an orb floats up towards the child between the 13 and 14 second mark. Shortly afterwards, a strange mist fills the air. Maybe it's something else, but I'm not sure because it seems to specifically wrap itself around the child. The last part is what has Sharon convinced that this is paranormal. She says that there were no other children in the house, but 31 seconds into the video, another little girl runs by at full speed. Her footsteps don't make a single sound. Take a listen. The camera was picking up little coughs and other background noise, so it definitely should have recorded running footsteps. Also, neither the dancing girl nor the dog seem to notice anyone is running straight towards them. I saw a light anomaly, writes Francisco Escamilla after uploading this bizarre ring cam footage to his YouTube channel. He has no idea what this was and is looking for answers, so let's try and help. I think this could actually be paranormal because their dog just so happens to go crazy at the same time. The block is quiet and the dog doesn't really have much to bark at other than this strange moving object. Some dogs will bark at nothing, so that's not necessarily proof. The way this alleged ghost orb slowly moves makes me wonder if this is actually just a bug that was attracted to the porch light, walking across the lens up close to give this strange and spooky effect. What happens when the truth can't be found and footage cannot be simply explained? Published by Luke Jones in November of 2013. This video may just reveal a real-life Savannah vampire. Jones writes, was reviewing the CCTV and couldn't believe my eyes, had to put it on YouTube. The video clip shows a few customers in a flip-flop shop in Savannah, Georgia. On one wall, a mirror is mounted for customers to check out their style and flops. You can see a female customer reflected in the mirror as she sits on a nearby bench texting, and you can see a male customer perusing flip-flops beside her. One man passes by the mirror and is accurately reflected. A short while later, another man dressed in all black passes by the mirror as well, only this time, no reflection.
Wait, I know. What? I know. Like, how is that? I don't know.
The male and female customers are still reflected properly in the mirror, but the men dressed in black? Nada. What is this wizardry? It could be unexplainable, and we may never know. A man in Russia goes exploring a field by the side of the road with a metal detector and detects a ghost instead.
Привидение. І ще так світиться іменно як фосфор, таким зеленим, таким класно, яскраво.
Off in the distance is what he suspects could be the apparition of a roadside phantom. It's pretty bizarre, but this image taken at 7 minutes and 11 seconds looks more like a roadside marker than anything paranormal. The only problem is I have no idea what the road signs look like in Russia. So tell me if this is one of them or not, then we'll all know if this video is paranormal. There's nothing else like it on this whole stretch of road, and he's never seen it before, so maybe he's making it up, or maybe it's something weird after all. A YouTuber named Black River Fossils is on the hunt for more evidence of a Megalodon shark. He gets to do this once a week, and he wants to make the most of this hobby on a rainy day in South Carolina. He goes out to a fresh clearing that has been sectioned off for digging. It isn't long before he finds a very small bull shark tooth, but this isn't enough to impress him, so he keeps searching. Then, sticking partially out of the mud from the fresh rains, he finds what he is looking for.
Please be whole, please be whole. Please, 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 please. Hello, nurse.
The gigantic black Megalodon tooth is serrated on both ends, like the edge of a carving knife. Black River Fossils later measures the tooth and finds it to be a full 4.5 inches long. That's not the size of a full-grown adult tooth, but looking at it up close, I can only imagine the amount of damage that one of these juveniles can inflict on a human, let alone the thousands that Megalodons were known to have. I did look up Megalodon teeth online to verify this video, and sure enough they look exactly like this one. For those of you who are interested, Megalodon teeth sell for about $600 on average. When a New York man's dog kept barking all night for no apparent reason, the dog's owner set out to investigate. He set up a CCTV camera to see if there was a reason behind his dog's behavior, and what he discovered explained everything. Posted to Reddit by UJ Hood, his friend's CCTV captured a figure shortly after 11 p.m. On January 29th, 2017, the figure appears to be carrying a flashlight, hurrying across the snow. What is so unusual about this capture is that, although the figure is walking upright on 2 feet, it isn't clear whether it's human or not. To further the mystery, the obscure being disappears halfway across the yard, although the flashlight continues to bop up and down against what may be a fence. The footage has some wondering whether the mysterious disappearance of the figure was simply a camera trick of blur and fade, a shadowy illusion, or something more sinister. Those leaning towards the latter note the figure's glowing eyes, strange spindly form, and weird movements. One user said that there's something strange going on, like why the background never gets obstructed after the figure passes by. Others suggest to follow the tracks, if there are any. What do you think this is? Whatever it is, it makes no sense. A YouTuber named Maximus and his friends are playing with a Ouija board in the shed. At first, they can't stop goofing around for long enough to take it seriously, but as time goes on, they start to concentrate more on the board and less on making jokes.
Are you there?
Maybe lift your arms up.
Why?
Cause it...
What?
Yo, what?
No, that was you. Is that how you? No.
They laugh wildly to cover up the mounting tension as they realize a ghost might actually be near. Unlike most of the videos, nothing happens for a long time, and the pointer stays completely still. They go back to making sarcastic jokes until another event gives them pause.
Are you standing next to Frank Tilton?
Are you Frank Tilton?
When was he born?
Stop playing. Stop.
Oh my god, no way! That actually like fell!
They are still acting like they don't care very much, but they decide to leave the shed just in case something is watching them. There's something about this video and their excitedly skeptical reactions that seems very genuine to me. While searching an abandoned house, this paranormal crew felt a heavy and sinister energy. That energy manifested itself in several ways. Watch what's lurking in this doorway.
E aí, como tá? A sensação que tem alguém dentro.
The energy intensifies. And the images the team has captured serve as evidence of the heaviness that they found here. I don't think I would have the guts to enter, and after seeing this video, I definitely have to pass. A YouTuber named Daniel finds a graveyard that is different than most others. It is in a bad state of disrepair, but beyond that, some of the graves are just plain missing.
Doesn't look like it's 6 feet deep either.
The graves could have simply been relocated, but if that were the case, then I think that the grave sites would have been filled back in. For some reason though, this graveyard has perfectly dug up graves with absolutely no evidence of a burial. There's no casket and no headstone. It's not like these plots were recently dug for a future burial either. Vegetation is slowly creeping back over them, and they are covered with a light bed of dry leaves. Whatever the explanation for the absence of these graves, one thing is for sure, clearly a lot of time has passed since they've been uncovered. A YouTuber named AG is playing with her phone on the floor when her CCTV system records a bizarre and possibly paranormal display behind her. The strangely shaped phantom consists of little more than 2 arms and a head. The face is simply a single eye in the middle, almost like it's looking at her from the side. The video itself looks a little pixelated, so I guess this could be special effects, or maybe even the brief reflection of something against the wall, though of what I cannot say. Stranger still is how, out of everywhere else in the room, it appears directly behind her, almost like it's self-aware in choosing to do so. When you investigate haunted places, expect to be followed home. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, So That's Scary claims a spirit from a ghost ship followed them home. Originally published to YouTube by SDK Paranormal in September of 2020, the YouTuber explains, "There is a lot of strange things happening outside, which we really do think is directly related to a spirit named George that followed us home from an investigation." So what happened? Robert explains in the video that ever since the team investigated the USS Edson, they've been encountering the spirit of George. The security footage shows a shadow appearing to knock on their door. According to Robert, they heard 3 knocks inside as this occurred. The spirit threw rocks, appeared as orbs in their photos, and spoke to them via EVP. This is when they set up security cameras and caught this on video. George shows up in the form of bright orbs, invariably a black shadow orb, which seemingly causes a chair to move. Next, the kickstand on the bike goes up of its own accord. The spirit is wild, but perhaps he just wants to be friends. On the other hand, he's throwing rocks. Who knows what he wants?
This is not like your regular staircase. It's just not like where you can look directly all the way to the first floor.
A man knows his apartment building has a ghost in the stairwell.
It's a creepy place.
He nods politely at someone going downstairs. Time passes and then he notices something strange.
I haven't heard him exit though. That's the weird thing.
He saw someone enter, he heard them go down the steps, and yet they never leave. More weird sounds is the only response he gets. He seems like a different person in a video update 6 months later, much more cautious, like a lot has happened to him in the time since.
Creepy things have been happening here, and I know this place is definitely haunted.
This is where things get weird in a creepy way. The door he just came through is now open, and downstairs is a dark space that suddenly clears up.
What is that? I gotta look at that. That was a shadow figure.
When he goes to where the alleged shadow figure was, nothing's there. Here it is one more time, zoomed in at 22 seconds. I might see a small figure, but help me decide if it's paranormal or just my imagination. A YouTube channel called Abandoned Exploring has been putting out exploration videos of haunted places since 2015. Then one year they mysteriously stopped. This is the last video on their channel. March 17th, 2019 is when Mike and Hudson Flo of Abandoned Exploring go to a collection of abandoned buildings in the woods at night to see if there's anything scary. Steelworkers used to live here because there is an old haunted mill nearby. No one is supposed to go in, but people have spray painted the walls and disrespected the place, probably stirring up a ghost or two in the process. A stuffed dog is on the ground and it looks like somebody got snatched out of their shoe.
Yo, I thought that was fake. It's a fake dog, but that scared out of me.
Yo, that looks real.
Oh my. What's up with all these shoes?
In the back, they find ropes that are too low to have been used on an adult.
Gotcha. Look at these ropes. I hope those aren't nooses.
Weird lights follow them as they wander back into the forest. They look like fireflies, but March is not the right time of year for them.
Man, I'm trying to clear my throat, guys. My bad. Yeah, no. There's a little drop. Damn, this thing looks kind of big, bro.
Notice how the last light is red. No towers are out here. Nothing out here has any power. A minute later, they find a second building surrounded by decaying trees as if nothing is able to grow here.
Gotta be a way in somewhere. Maybe in the front. Oh, look at this, bro.
This could be an uncovered grave, a secret entrance, or just a maintenance tunnel. They decide not to climb down and eventually find another way in. Inside is a floor lined with chemical vats. He climbs one of them and inside is a green liquid substance that looks highly toxic, especially after all these years. Another mysterious light shines down on them with no discernible source, and then they hear something I've never heard in any other ghost hunting video.
It's pretty big that way. It looks a little flooded back there though.
What?
What the f? It's like 10 o'clock. What would be making that noise?
A song meant for remembering those who have fallen fills the room.
It sounds like it's right over there.
When they go to see if anything's over there, their camera records a devilish EVP.
Oh, don't step right there, bro.
They split up to search 2 rooms. The spirit seems to be playing games with them.
There's a room in here. Go this way. Go this way. Go this way.
It's not Mike. Mike's in a different room. Something else was behind Hudson Flo's shoulder. Back outside is another entrance. The room it leads to gives Mike a bad feeling, so he hangs outside. When Hudson goes in, something stops him.
Hold on real quick. It's coming from that way, bro. It's coming from that way, I don't know.
Tell me if this is a ghost or the wind. Here it is again.
It's coming.
And as they hold still, they spot something else watching them.
What the is that, bro? You wanna walk over there? You wanna walk over there?
We've been seeing lights this whole time, but here's when they first notice.
Oh my, bro, I see 2 eyes, bro. Bro, I see 2 eyes. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Come here, look right there, look right there. Yeah, you see those 2 eyes?
They run back to their car and can still see and hear whatever's following them.
Sit in the car, maybe they'll surround us. Yeah, hear them.
Oh, they're right there.
Open this.
I've never been in that much fear.
After a minute, they realize they are still being followed.
There they are. See the eyes? Yeah. Look at those eyes. You guys can see those eyes in the woods right there.
It's been over a year with no new uploads and people are starting to wonder. Redditor Everyone is Human shared the following video to Reddit with a short read-up that says, "My sister-in-law's Ring camera captured this tonight. I have never been a believer, but I am struggling to dismiss this. Please weigh in on it." So let's have a look and see if we can help the uploader in figuring out what was filmed on the camera that night. So I need you to focus your attention. So if we're looking at the center beam here, about dead center on the center beam, and then to the left, about halfway in between this center beam and this beam here. And you just see that thing just move. All right, now it's between these 2 beams, just huffing it down the sidewalk. Still on camera here, but it looks like whatever this is, it almost looks like the ghost of somebody out for an evening jog, as it starts on the left side of the sidewalk here and just continues down the sidewalk for the entire video. Whatever it is almost appears kind of translucent as well. You'd think if it was just a person, like an actual person out for a jog, it would be a lot more visible on camera. It would just look like a, you know, just a regular person on camera. This almost looks not only translucent, but it's kind of floating in the air. I can definitely see why this uploader, who is usually a skeptic when it comes to this sort of thing, is having a hard time coming up with a logical explanation of what exactly happened on the security footage. It certainly looks to be some sort of ghostly figure out for an evening stroll, but one can only hope that's not the case. Some viewers suggest that it could actually just be the camera that's making an ordinary person look like a ghost. Is this actually a ghost walking around in clear view, or is this just a camera trick on a regular person? I'll let you decide. Despite its name, the doll room in the historic Jefferson Hotel is a sinister place, and this video shared by the hotel's YouTube channel confirms this. Listen closely.
Did some more dolls to our doll room. That particular doll is over 100 years old.
As you can see, the manager hears a noise down the hallway, and as soon as he turns to look, one of the dolls falls down in the room. Listen again. He enters to see what happens.
Another little video tour that I do when we add some more items to the rooms or whatever. So we added some more dolls to this room, which is our dolls and stuff room. And as I walked in the room, I heard a noise going down the hall right there.
He replaces the doll. But it doesn't get any less creepy. To me, it looks like it's watching him. Do the spirits of the past on linger where they took their last breath on Earth? They might, as this video from YouTuber Terror Latente suggests. A hospital worker wanders around the empty corridors of a hospital. When they capture a glimpse of something while rounding a corner, watch closely. Did you see her? Here's the footage again, slowed down. There's definitely a figure there, and when the camera pans back moments later, she's gone. This capture really gives me the chills. I feel this is a genuine ghost, a spirit whose life ended here in this hospital. What do you think? YouTuber Dark Life says this was the worst EHF find he's ever discovered in an abandoned house. Dennis explains that he didn't bring his tent, so he won't be spending the night.
Ладно, пойду я дальше, не буду терять время. Сегодня я без палатки, поэтому...
Later inside, a spirit confirms that she is there.
Здесь кто-нибудь есть из мира мертвых?
The spirit says that she remembers her relatives.
Помнишь что-нибудь из жизни? Ты что-нибудь помнишь из жизни?
As Dennis is standing in the dark, he accidentally steps on a hornet's nest.
Опа. Я попал.
He leaves a camera down there instead, so as not to be stung, but something spins his camera around. I don't know what did that, but it was not a hornet. Okay, this video is bizarre and just plain really weird. A kid on YouTube named Nature the Bee is making a random video about his cat. Little did he know that he caught a mysterious figure on camera.
And that's the end of the first trailer. I hope you enjoyed.
Creeping around the house is a strange, ghostly apparition. It was not part of the skit he was doing at all and really has no place being there. Plus the way it looks from behind the corner is beyond creepy. You can see some more scary stuff when you zoom in, like a freaky frowning face that the uploader thinks could be a ghost or a demon sighting caught on video. I think this video could be edited, but if not, then I'd say his house is definitely haunted by something paranormal. A paranormal investigator named Ankur Kashyap knows of a spooky house nearby that's as haunted as it is abandoned, or so the local legends say. He and his friends wait until after dark to explore the house to avoid getting caught and to increase their odds of getting a real ghost sighting on camera. They sneak over the gate and are too busy filming an introduction to notice their first paranormal encounter of the night in the form of a yellow ghost orb. Translate this part if you can, because I feel like whatever he says is what gets the attention of the spirit world.
So आज मैं आ रखा हूँ अपने दोस्त निखिल की कॉलोनी में और मैं आ रखा हूँ एक haunted house पे. ये वाला haunted house मेरे दोस्त निखिल की.
And look, Ankur even subconsciously leans away seconds before the orb touches him, almost like some part of him senses an unwanted presence is near. Meanwhile, a pair of oversized eyes of something, possibly a ghost in the window, appear at 2 minutes and 51 seconds as they head through a basement entrance. Down this creepy, narrow hallway is a hidden room that seems out of place and has no reason to be here. Something about the discovery freaks them out, and they decide not to see what other secret rooms this small space holds. Instead, they go straight to the center of the house and perform some kind of ghost summoning ceremony with candles. Towards the end of the ritual, they sense a spirit slip into the room with them, and a mysterious shadow moves over them, or perhaps even through them, while at the same time the camera refuses to go back into focus. It's creepy, but I don't know why the camera person doesn't look over to get the ghost on camera. He misses the moment, so it's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever, but the random moving shadow is pretty bizarre. And there's still one more odd encounter left. The group is soon surprised to find that the door refuses to budge, even though it's clearly unlocked. So either they are faking this movement, or else the haunted house is seriously refusing to let them leave. Just when the ghost hunters are getting anxiety and really starting to panic. A ghost slams a door in the distance, something has left the building, and the place feels abandoned once more, at least for the time being. Their door is no longer locked, and so the perplexed paranormal explorers take the hint and quietly let themselves out. They could have been pretending that the door was locked. However, the ghost orb, the moving shadow, and the ghost slamming a door is all evidence of the paranormal in my opinion. This individual realized he picked the wrong house to enter when at 4 a.m. UFC star Anthony Smith was awoken to strange screams in his home. This intruder was screaming at the top of his lungs, and Smith quickly confronted him. Knowing that his wife and 3 daughters were also in the house, we can see from this Ring doorbell footage from another house. This stranger also entered that night that he could very well possibly be having a psychotic episode. That could be one of the only explanations for how this stranger was able to hold his own against this UFC star. Smith later said, "I'm by no means the baddest dude on the planet, but he's a regular Joe and I had a hard time dealing with him, and he took everything that I gave him." In the end, skill prevailed and Smith was able to subdue the intruder until the police arrived and took him into custody. I think what's most terrifying about this incident is considering the psychotic state of this stranger. Who knows what he would have been capable of that night if there wasn't a UFC star there to subdue him. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.